Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. We're back with the Ted Show. Very, very excited to share this young man's journey. J.R. Smith is with us today from the Veterans Ranch, and we're going to talk about how the Veterans Ranch is helping veterans and families, one horse at a time. I had to read that 3 times when you created that, and I love it's probably one of the most unique titles we've ever done. So I want to learn all about the Veterans Ranch, and I'm just so excited to have you on. Welcome, J.R.
Well, really appreciate it, Ted. Thank you for having us on. I really appreciate being able to share our message, across the old interwebs here and just let people know who we are and what we do. I tell you, how all this started was the good Lord in a dream. My dad always taught me to keep a legal pad next to my bed in case you get an idea in the middle of the night. I've had some good ones. I've had some goofy ones. October-ish 2017, I wake up. I still have the legal pad, by the way, and scribble the word ranch. Almost couldn't read my own chicken scratch the next morning. Now, my wife, her family is originally from Kentucky. She was the first Floridian born. I'm originally from Missouri. I heard native Floridians were hard to come by, so when I found one I liked, I grabbed her. We always rode horses. Just go trail ride and have some fun. And we always wanted our own horses. So when I look at ranch, I had no idea what that meant. A couple of weeks later, we're headed out to Bass Pro Shops, just perfect candy store to go waste a day. And we stop at Chili's for some lunch. And I asked her if she's got a pen. She had a pen, but she didn't have anything to write on. About 15 minutes later, the waitress kept coming over and asking why I'm asking for so many napkins. Ideas were flowing, Ted, like water. Okay, now some were crazy. Some are just like we're implementing as we get going down the road. But the biggest idea that came out of all that was that we never, ever, ever charge a veteran or their immediate family for our services.
Wow.
That was priority number one. So we started going through all that. So I needed to set up a 501c3. I knew you just didn't go on Sunbiz and 10 minutes fill it out. There's a little more to it than that. So
absolutely.
Good friend of ours, he said, no, I don't deal with that, but I got somebody for you that can. And, come to find out, her husband had a classic car. I'm handy with a wrench. Long story short, we traded out the work. When it's right, it's right. She set it all up for us. So literally from October to tomorrow is our 3-year anniversary, December 17th of 2017. We are a 501c3. Now, what did that mean?
Congratulations on 3 years. That is a big deal. If people don't know, the nonprofit world really is the non-profit world. So people don't realize how much work goes into it and how much upfront money there has to be in order for you to get that established. What I want to know is how did you get, you wanted to work with horses, but how did you know about, is it equine?
Yeah, the technical term's equine therapy. We really kind of reduce it down to the ridiculous, like we're sitting around a campfire having a beer. I'm not a big psychologist. I can teach you how to saddle it, ride it, love it, clean it. But, we leave the pro stuff to the pros. How we came up with that, again, my wife and I always love horses. We go trail riding all the time. We're also dog lovers. I think since I was about 8 years old, I don't think I've never had a dog in my house. But we didn't want to be just white noise. We didn't want to be another dog program out there. We literally call horses God's majestic animal. Okay. For non-horse people listening out there today, a horse can feel a gnat land on its back. Think about that for a second. A tiny little gnat, it can feel land on its back. What do you think that animal feels from you 2 miles away? It knows everything about you, And so here, especially when it comes to military, you're there to get me home. I'm there to get you home. My dad's a 2-tour Vietnam veteran. He's one of the big reasons why we started this. So there's a loyalty to a horse when you make that connection that's unlike anything else. Literally, you can ask a horse to continue to run for you, and it will at its own peril. Literally, a horse will run itself till it collapses and dies.
Wow.
Now, men and women in our great military and law enforcement and everything else, there aren't too many other places that get that kind of connection, that kind of loyalty when they get out. And so that's why we chose horses, because they just know everything about you. And here's this 1,800-pound animal that'll give you the ride of your life. It's truly a spiritual experience.
Well, that's what I've heard of the therapy before. I love what you just said. That's the first time I've ever heard it described like that. And it's so on the money, because I've worked with so many veterans and veterans organizations in the past. You come out of the military and you're used to that structure and trust, and give up your life for your friend and your colleague and your all of the people in your troop. And you get out into the real world, and it's not like that. No. And so it's very hard for civilians to understand what our military family is going through. And so the trust that they have with the horse is key.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So tell us what happens. Is there an actual program? Describe a little bit about the program, because I'm so fascinated.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do right off the bat, we just want to sit down and talk with you. Might be around a campfire, just sitting in a chair, and we want to find out where you are in life right now. How'd you get here? I don't need to know all the war stories. My dad still shares the funny stories with me today, but I don't know all the bad stuff, and that's okay. We don't. There's a lot we don't need to know. They didn't want to know it when they went in.
Exactly.
What we can kind of determine, because there are two main goals that we have in our organization, and that is to prevent suicide. 22 veterans a day are still committing suicide. With COVID, those numbers are probably, unfortunately, going to go up. And divorce prevention. Divorce across the military is about 20%. Special Forces, 99%.
Wow.
Yeah. Navy SEALs, 99% right now. It's atrocious. And we understand why. They can't, just a sidebar, they can't tell you where they're going, when they're going. Phone goes off, you're on a plane. And you can't talk about it when you get back. And when you're back, are you really? Or are you where you left?
Right there.
Yeah. And that's tough on Navy wives, or just military wives, military husbands, because now other, women can get deployed, and the husband's left at home being chief cook and bottle washer. So to get back to the program, what we want to do is we got to size you up, first of all. I'm 6'4" and 280. I can't get on some little 700-800-pound horse, that literally its waist comes up to mine. You got to put me on a bigger boy or a draft horse or something like that. And so that's the first thing. We always deal with gentle horses. We don't want some 1-2-year-old, that's really kind of sketchy, that can trigger somebody who we're trying to help. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a brush in their hand, a grooming brush, because the biggest thing in any relationship, you say you can't marry a girl on the first date, right? You got to build that trust. You got to build those bonds. And when you're grooming a horse, it truly is magical. It almost chokes me up a little bit, because I've seen it. I've been there and done it. If you're having a bad day, you go out and groom your horse. Half hour later, you forgot about the world and you feel better. So we're going to get them in there and start building those bonds of trust. But the big key is to get them to start laying down their heavy coat of burden and leave it. Put it down, forget about it, never pick it up again. You're never going to forget what you saw, what you did or experienced in the military. And depending on what your job was, those may be some uglier things than what other people saw. But we want you to learn how to just deal with it and move on through that horse to build those bonds. We're not just throwing a saddle on and say, okay, y'all giddy up. You got to get those experiences going. And then, quite honestly, we're going to put them to work. They become ranch hands. They're mucking stalls. They're taking care of that horse. They're cleaning hooves, and they're doing everything necessary to build those bonds. Now, that may, occur over a long weekend, a one-day event, if that's what we're putting on, or, a week, 2 at a time.
I think it's so fascinating to me, that bond, and the fact that exists, and can be created with our military. Because like you said, I'm very sensitive to this because I just have spoken to many. I've done a lot of shows about the 22 veterans who, on average, who commit suicide every day. It's just 22 too many.
Yep.
And it just, they don't have anybody that they feel comfortable talking to about things. And so even regular therapy with a civilian type therapist outside of the military is not something that's attractive to them. Like you said, a lot of them don't want to rehash all of the old wounds. And the ones that do are afraid that they're going to get judged. It's a very crazy cycle that we put our veterans through overall. And so for them to be able to build a bond that allows them to unburden is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. And we'll partner up with with all the local VAs. We're part of the Polk County Veterans Council. We get them to, when we're doing an event, they'll bring out the mobile VA unit if it's available. So you've got counselors and people to talk to. I have one request from any counselor that ever helps us out is that everything is 100% off book, meaning no notes, no recordings, no nothing. I hope you got a good memory because, what happened when you were a kid, right? If you knew you weren't going to get in trouble for breaking the lamp, you admitted you broke the lamp. Otherwise, your brother or sister did it.
Right.
And so, like you just said, if you don't feel there's any repercussions, you'll talk more, you'll share more, and get more off your chest. I got big shoulders. I can empathize, but, I wasn't there. I've never fired a shot in anger. I've never had a bullet whiz by my head. So I don't know what that's like, but I can be a darn good listener.
And that's sort of what the horse is doing. Because like you said, I love that sensitivity and the gnat example that you gave, because that I have brushed horses. I have ridden horses a couple of times, not a lot, but I am so enamored with how beautiful and majestic was the word you used, which I love, and affectionate. One day, and for some of these veterans, that might be the only affection they've felt in a long time or allowed themselves to feel. It's a challenge.
Yeah, both ways, because my dad came with the era. There weren't ticker tape parades. It wasn't welcome home. He was coming through San Francisco airport and, on his way back from Vietnam, and some Harry Christians spit on him, called him a baby killer. I'll be honest with you. He didn't wear his Vietnam veteran hat for the longest time, didn't hang stuff on his office walls. Boy, you talk about slow the drip wears the marble. Took me a long time to wear on that. And we were at a car show, something one day, and I went off to the side and I found a veteran organization that was selling hats. And he had a hat on that day, and I tossed it in his lap and I said, "Here's your hat." And he said, "Son, I got a hat on." I said, "Yeah, that one in your lap, wear it." And he's been wearing it ever since. And it was that weekend that he heard for the first time, "Welcome home, brother." And it almost brought him to tears. Now, my dad, 5'9", Irish, German, his mother's Austrian, got some Native American in us. We got a little bit of temper, And so for that to choke my dad up, man, I knew why we're doing what we're doing. Talk about
the families on it too, because you're part of it too. You see how families, how your dad, there's this little part that's always sectioned off with our military, even if they've got an open, amazing, loving family. So why are the families an important part of the therapy process?
The family serves as much as the one in the uniform. It's just a different brigade. They're, the ones that are having to be chief cook and bottle washer while the other one's deployed or just busy doing what they're doing every single day. If it's a divorce situation, the kids suffer, the whole family suffers. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the reasons why divorce is so high is one will deploy, and the other, when they come back home, sometimes they want it the way it used to be before they left. Well, obviously, it can never be the way it was. but it creates that angst, well, why? I don't understand. I've only been gone for a year and a half. What do you mean it can't be the way it was? So we'll put them together with a horse. So if you got a family of 4, if it's more than that, we'll split it up amongst a couple horses. And we just do that. Again, get them working as a team bonding, really program. And we're telling them, because the horse is in charge, let's face it, but we're telling them what to do. One's not standing back barking orders, being in charge. And I mean, I've seen it. Again, I'm a big giant teddy bear. Okay. I mean, I've broken down with families, because how can you not? You're seeing that, just sometimes years of angst just melt off that family. And I'm group hugging and, I'm a big mess with them too, So, I mean, can't always let the hat and the buckle fool you, I mean, it's part of loving what we do. We've got, my wife's dad was Army after World War II. My dad's brother was in the Navy. Their dad was part of the Big Red One at the tail end of World War II. My wife had 2 uncles in World War II. One was at Pearl Harbor the day it got hit. That strong man lived to 2010. And, we just, last, December 7th here, we did a big tribute to him on Pearl Harbor Day. And so, when I got out of high school in 1991, I had friends in various branches go right over to the sandbox. And, and I saw what they had to deal with when they came back. A lot of them became St. Louis County cops, because I'm from the Midwest originally, or they became EMTs, firefighters, because that's what they did in the military. And they didn't know what else to do. So they rotated back around into a civilian type position.
Sacrifice. So they're used to living a sacrifice 24/7.
Yeah. Being, they always say it's an overused phrase, but it's so true, being a part of something bigger than yourself.
So tell me about the breakthroughs. I have seen some, just when veterans will come on and talk on the show, and sometimes it's the first time they've talked about what they went through or what they're feeling, which again, guys, is a giant leap for so many of them. But you've witnessed the breakthrough. You can feel that and see how it impacts them and the family right then and there.
Yeah, it really does. And I'll give you a couple of quick examples. I was on a radio show while we were out in Texas. Just shout out to 12 and Sideshow, that they know who they are. But he said that he had spent 10 years on the couch and had a better breakthrough in 10 minutes with a horse than he did in 10 years on the couch. It's just absolutely amazing. We had one at our last veteran horse clinic. Gentleman was active duty Air Force. He was there with his wife. She was medically discharged and from the Air Force. And he was maybe 5'5" with boots on. And we put him next to a Belgian, which is about 20 hands.
They're big.
Yeah. Now, to measure hands on a horse, it's from their hoof to the withers or the top of their shoulder. And you put your hand like this, and that's 1, that's 2, and so on and so on. If you're familiar with the Budweiser Clydesdales, not quite that tall, pretty close. So 5'5", big horse. We're making sure everybody else is getting saddled up. We were doing a trail ride that day, and his wife comes over and says, "Jared, you got to help me. He's cursing me out. He's mad. He wants to go home. He can't believe I brought him here. I know he's just scared, but he won't admit it." So I grab a friend of mine who's helping me that day, who was a Marine, and we go over to him. I'm like, "You got this?" He goes, "Oh, I got this." So he comes up to him. He's like, "What's wrong, Airman? You scared? Come on, you're active duty. You can't get on a horse." And I can't say everything on air that he said. I don't want your bleed filter getting in. Bottom line is he started breaking it down military to military. See, and that's why I don't have that. Bottom line, we found out why he was so scared. He was from the Bronx. Okay. He'd never seen a horse, never saw the mounted patrol in Forest Park, didn't have a dog as a pet. So we finally get him to get on the horse, but the reins are like this and his legs are real tight. And we said, "Brother, you're going to the Kentucky Derby in 5 minutes if you don't ease up off this horse." We taught him how to breathe, taught him how to relax. Biggest thing people do when they're new on a horse, they think this is their steering wheel. You lead the head and you'll steer. Wrong. All you do is give them a little command. Most of it's done with your feet, okay, in terms of steering the horse. We got him comfortable. Took about a half hour, but it's okay, whatever it takes. And we sent him out with about 6, 7 other people. And, we had experienced riders in front and behind him. When he came back, quick plug to our friends at Coca-Cola in Auburndale. They provide, how they donate to us is they provide all our beverages, so some Powerade Zero, and they help us with all our events. He comes back, he's got this big old grin on his face. We're like, how you doing? He's like, walking a little funny, because it was an hour-long trail ride. He said, walking a little funny, but I want to get a Powerade, and can I please go out on the second ride?
Nice.
I mean, brother, we did our job. We got this guy to do a massive breakthrough. So when he deployed back out to Okinawa, he could tell his buddies, I rode a 20-hand horse. What'd you do? Get that. I mean, he had his chest stuck out.
It's confidence. And then it was so important that you had somebody military there at the time, because that, again, going back civilian to military, sometimes that trust is just, you can't break through it. It takes a lot. So I love the fact that he came over and started just going military to military. I was
trying not to laugh because I knew what he was doing. I mean, he just had to break it down, man to man. Veteran to veteran, and but it was great to watch.
All right, so tell all of us. Lots of people want to know how they get involved. So tell us the best way for somebody to reach out to you if they have a veteran that they'd like to reach out, or they want to get involved, they want to give back.
Absolutely. You can always go to theveteransranch.org. That's our main website. You can reach out to us that way. You can shoot us an email. All the contact information's on there. Call me, text me. My cell phone number's right on the website. And, you can always get in touch with us. You can donate to us. We only ask for $7 a month, and 100% goes right to the charity. We're not paying celebrities millions of dollars to, run $19 a month commercials that only go to run more $19 a month commercials. I'll just leave it at that without calling out names. I say if you want to give to any of those organizations, find a local chapter, because then the money goes somewhere other than just paying $1 million celebrities to do more TV commercials. So I'll leave it at that. And always check with us. We always have things going on in our events page. Right now, one thing I want to talk about is we have a veteran in need right now. He's got some legal bills that we're trying to help him cover. We negotiated him down because it was a veteran. He just basically ran out of cash. And we have a GoFundMe page set up for him. 100% goes to this veteran. We're not taking a dime. Never would we would take a dime. So you can go on theveteransranch.org, click events, and you'll see the link right there. We just ask to give with your heart. Everything helps. $10, $25. It's a hill to climb, but I know the people listening out here can do it.
It goes such a long way, the money that you would donate, and it really changes lives. And so I really want to encourage everybody. The website is theveteransranch.org. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. JR is very easy to access. Telephone numbers on the website, or you can reach out to him in social media. I tagged you on everything, JR. I think it's absolutely a blessing what you all are doing. I just want to give you big kudos, and it is a necessary, but so important and critical thing in the lives of the veterans and their families that you're helping. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. We appreciate the ability to share today and just get the word out there, and let's really pull together. Let's show this veteran that people still care about their veterans. It's a crazy world we live in right now, and sometimes they feel like they're getting left behind, and especially our Vietnam era veterans, and we need to show them that people still care. So click on that GoFundMe page and
check that out on the veteransranch.org page. If you want to make an immediate impact, there's a veteran in need, and it's right there on the page. You can reach out to me or JR. If not, JR, if I don't talk to you, have a very Merry Christmas. thank you for all you do. God bless you.
You as well. God bless. And as we say, giddy up.
Giddy up. I like that. All right. We'll see you guys back a little later.